Hi everyone. So today I have a Q&A video for you, and I'm really late with these. I think I filmed this back in October and just didn't get around to editing it. I really debated, do I even want to publish it or not? But then I thought, well, you know, some of these questions are really have nothing to do with the time frame we're in. So I think it kind of applies to any time. And since I, filmed it, you guys bothered to leave the questions and MB got the questions together for me, I'm going to go ahead and publish it. But before we get into the actual video, and you're going to kind of hear another introduction as I, play the video from this past summer. I'm going to look different, like it's in a different time frame. But before we get into that, I have a few things I want to mention. My oldest son, Kenny, actually came up with this idea. I can't believe it. He's been doing some editing for me, so I feel like he thought about this as he was editing. But he told me to tell you guys to put any questions you want in the comment section down below for him and his brother. Him and Ephraim would sit down and do a Q&A. I know, right? I couldn't believe it. I didn't dream that they'd actually be willing to do that and more or less, volunteer to actually do it. So go ahead. If you have any questions for them, leave them down below in the comment section. And sometime this winter, I can't promise, when this will happen, but they will sit down and try to answer them. The other thing I wanted to mention is some of the Christmas products we have on the Etsy shop. We have a few new ones I'm going to throw on the screen here as I'm talking. But we're running out of time. Christmas is getting closer, but we are trying our best to get these items shipped to you in time. So if you see something you'd still like, before Christmas, make sure to head on over to the shop, check it out. We can't promise, what will happen after it's out of our hands, but I think this year the Postal Service seems to be doing pretty good. As far as we know, hopefully. This morning I was taking some pictures of a few items we have left over from that Christmas event that I was to recently, and I thought it's too bad to not try to get these items into people's hands in time for Christmas in case you still need something for, a gift idea for someone or just something for yourself. Make sure to check that out. So now let's get to that video from this past October. Enjoy. So today I'm filming a Q&A video, and in case you're keeping track, I'm way behind with this. Like some of these questions are going to be from videos that were filmed earlier this summer. I apologize for that. It's probably old, stale news, but we're going to do it anyway. MB got these questions together for me, and I didn't want to just not answer them. So here we go. The first ones are from the bedroom remodel video. First question here is Rebecca asking, the painted dresser looks really nice, thank you. This will sound kind of silly, but how do you keep the frames from the individual beds from moving apart? I understand why they are separated, but it just seems like the frames would migrate. Is that another reason for the wooden bed collar? If so, what a genius idea. No, honestly, that wooden cover is solely for looks. It's not really doing anything. The frames don't move apart, like they're actually connected at the bottom. We never have issues with that. The next one here is Connect to Tech asking, I know you've had them a long time, but can you share information on your blinds, where you got them? The blinds in the bedroom are from Amazon, I believe. I'll try to find them and link them down below in the description box in case you're interested in them. I really like them. They're so easy to maneuver. Next question here is, I'm curious, what did you use to make the lines on your faux shiplap? And did you use a clear coat? The lines are made with a Sharpie marker. Yeah, I know. I can't believe you can actually get that look with just a marker and a yardstick. And I did make a video on that. I'll try to link that down below in the description box in case you want to check it out. But it was a really easy process. I mean, it was a little time consuming to get all those lines straight, but so worth it. Such an inexpensive way to get that shiplap look. And I did not use a clear coat. Living a Word-Filled Life says, have you ever felt the need to use a primer on furniture? Well, actually, most of the paint that I use has a primer in it already. Now, every now and then I'll come across a piece that is extra maybe stained or just really glossy where I'll use a separate primer. But for the most part, the Do It Best paint that I use seems to work well with that paint and primer in one. Sunflower says, how do you get rid of the musty smells in old furniture? I have a sideboard that I've aired out, wiped down with vinegar, and left baking soda in, and the smell comes back. Will painting help? Yes, I've tried all of those things too on really stubborn pieces that really smell bad. And it's helped some, especially the baking soda, I think, but to paint would really help. Like I've done that, and that really seems to take care of it. Every now and then you might even still have, some issues with smell if it's, really bad, but for the most part, I would say, paint would help. And the bottom comment from that video, which you guys probably know for some reason that YouTube can sort. The negative comments are often at the bottom, but we'll go ahead and address those. Keeps things interesting here. But the bottom comment is criminal painting the dresser, each to their own. Yeah, I was pretty sure I'd probably get that if I paint the dresser, but it just wasn't the right color for the space that it went in. I love the color that it is, actually. I haven't regretted it. And sometimes MB will stick some other, not really questions, but just interesting comments in here. Often she'll put her own words, like this one is labeled LOL, why? So let's see what it says here. Please don't put beds in front of windows. I don't know either. Actually, for years we had our bed in front of the window. I always kind of liked that. I was able to sometimes, open the window and I have that fresh air, blowing over us. I'm not sure why you wouldn't want that. Besides, maybe it's just not as aesthetically pleasing. I kind of like to, have maybe a sign or something else hanging above the bed rather than a window. And then another one she put in here. This is a very, like a Holmes County question or related to question with the traffic and the driving, but RJO says, correct me if I'm wrong, but pretty certain passing any vehicle on a double yellow is illegal in all states. The disregard of that law to pass the horse and buggy, especially while cresting the hill with a bicyclist in oncoming traffic, was extremely concerning to watch. I'm not sure how it appeared in the video. I'd have to kind of look back on that, but I would never ever pass anything, over a hill, like cresting a hill, without being able to, see over it. So I'm pretty sure I didn't do that. It might have looked that way with the fast forward. But what I'm going to get to here is the passing on a double yellow line. If you were to spend any amount of time here in Holmes County, even just a short little drive through the country, you would never ever get anywhere if you wouldn't be able to pass people on a double yellow line. Trust me, I know that from living here all my life. Everyone does it. Normally the buggies have, some room where they can go to the side. There's maybe a buggy lane that you can, you don't have to go all the way over on the other side. And in this area we actually have rules where if you're the oncoming traffic and somebody wants to pass a buggy, you just give them space. Like you go into the buggy lane to allow that person to pass. Because again, people would never get to places if everybody did that. And I'm pretty sure you fellow Holmes County people are probably in total agreement with me on that one. And in case you can't tell, I'm a really impatient driver. I often have things to do, places to go, and it's just all I can do sometimes to be patient enough. I still want to always be safe. It's just common sense, goes a long way in that regard. The next questions are from the July 4th decor video. Candy Shank says, would you list your laser engraver and what your thoughts are on it? Sure, I'll list them down below in the description box. We actually have two of them. I think at the point of filming that video, the July 4th decor video, we just have the one. But we like both of our laser engravers. Now the last one, the X-Tool P2, I had done a separate video on that one. That one is pretty exceptional, but it is also a lot pricier. So I'll list them both down below in the description box. I like them both. I would definitely recommend them. Marty Thomas says, do your guides notice when you change your displays? Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. It just kind of depends. I guess if I do something more drastic, they'll probably notice, but every now and then I'll ask them, did you notice that I redid so-and-so? And they kind of get a sheepish look, and I presume they probably didn't notice, but usually they start complimenting then to kind of make up for it. Candy Cleve says, what is it like in Holmes County Amish community during the day of the 4th of July? It's such a fun time, summertime, and July 4th, of course, here in our area. People are really into parades and festivals and different kind of outdoor events that are going on. So it's definitely a time where, people do celebrate July 4th, Independence Day, which is awesome. I know some businesses might close sooner, like you might want to watch for that if you're ever in the area, which that's understandable probably anywhere, but they want to make so their employees, of course, have some time off too. Next question here is, I was wondering what type of iron that you use. I'll try to put the name on the screen. I don't have it with me right now. Bottom comment is, you need a real fireplace, and I don't consider that a negative comment. I consider that a lot of encouragement there, because I'd love to have a real fireplace. We've actually talked about it. I think I've mentioned it before. There is an actual chimney behind that wall where our mantle is, so it would almost be doable, I think, but maybe someday. The next questions are from the bathroom makeover. That seems like a long time ago. We had actually done that earlier this year, and I think the video didn't really go out until a lot later. I think we had been waiting on maybe shower doors or something like that, so that's probably why it seems like a long time ago. Vicki Timmerman says, your little home is really getting quite a nice facelift. Are there any rooms in the house left to do? I swear you're the only person that I could watch paint a wall. As far as rooms left in the house to redo, I mean, I always have things in mind that I want to redo. Actually, our kitchen is in dire need of a remodel. We've talked about it, like, do we want to go, have patience and just wait and then go all out with it, or do we want to start just here and there? It's kind of hard to know, what to do, but just take these countertops, for example. I think this is in the video here, but these are made, I just made this myself. It's nothing fancy, mind you, but it's basically just planks of treated lumber that I glued together, and I painted them. And then after everything was painted and sealed, I think I made like a glue up so you don't actually see the cracks in it. But I went ahead and tried to make it look like marble, and it kind of worked. Like, I kind of had that look that I wanted, but over time it's peeling and it's getting sticky. It's just, yeah, we definitely should be replaced. And then our cabinets in themselves are really in need of either new paint or maybe just being replaced. Yeah, so many things in here to redo, but it's exciting to me. Like, I love to brainstorm and think, what I'd want to do. It's always nice to just, I guess, take your time with planning something like that, because it would be a pretty major makeover and I want to do it right then. But as far as other rooms, like the boys' rooms, we had installed carpeting, and I think officially all the flooring has changed in our house, because we had done the bedroom too downstairs here. That was one of the last ones, and then that upstairs bathroom. And then, the trim, I painted everything over the years. Like, this house everything was that orange oak trim. And I didn't do it all at once, of course, but it's officially, everything is painted, I'd say. But there's often, even if it's not a complete remodel, there's often little touches that I want to add, or just things I'd want to change here and there. RS Design says, it's just beautiful. Thank you. I love all of it. Will you now be replacing the flooring in the bedrooms? I guess I just kind of covered that. We had, done the carpeting, and they could be replaced too, eventually, but I'm thinking as long as our boys are still here in the house and it's their bedrooms, they will probably just keep it the way it is. Angie says, would you mind sharing approximately how much this cost? I should have read this question and kind of went over things before I'm addressing it, but I'll try to flash it on the screen here of an approximate cost, because I think I could kind of go up there and tally it up, but it of course turned out a little more pricey than we had thought or hoped for, I guess. But it's worth it. They love their bathroom, and it was definitely high time to do something with it. Next question here is, what language do you and your husband speak with one another the most? We speak Pennsylvania Dutch. That is our first language, and that is a mixture of, there's even some English in there too, but it's, I'm not sure why it's called Pennsylvania Dutch. Maybe it kind of originated there, but I know there's some German, maybe even some Swiss, and mixed together. It's not really a true language, I guess you could say. Brenda says, how will you keep your shower doors clean? I think with any shower related spaces, it's just cleaning them weekly, just not letting any scum build up, I think is going to help the most. And I'm a big fan of the Mrs. Meyer's soaps, and they have that spray on. I think that's a really good cleaner to use in the shower. Now, a couple times a year, I might use something just a bit stronger to just make sure everything's staying nice and clear. But just for your weekly cleaning, I think that does a really good job. And the bottom comment from that video is, everything in the bathroom is great except the gray floor. It would have looked more seamless and less jarring to continue the brown tone from the hallway floor and from the other wood tones used in the bathroom. A rare misstep for you. I almost consider that a, how would I say, a critical compliment in a way, the rare misstep. But I know that gray flooring, I kind of like to see it, and we used it in one of the cottages that we had built, the 2 cottages last summer, and it was left over, so that's kind of why we used it. But I don't think it looks that bad together, honestly. I always think, tans and grays, you can somewhat mix them sometimes, but now I'll probably think about it every time I walk in that bathroom. But honestly, I didn't really think about it, that it didn't go with the rest of the room. I guess our vanity is black, so that kind of goes with the gray floor. The next questions are from a Q&A that I had filmed around that time. Bobby Schultz says, regarding the issue of your pond, have you looked into grass-eating carp grass does grow in the nutrient-rich environment of a lake, especially if leaves and debris get in it. I don't think that's what we have in our pond, though. She goes on to say how they've had a lake that they've managed this way for about 20 years. I mean, it would be worth checking into, but we do have those white amers in there, and they do an excellent job of keeping the algae down. Like, we don't have any algae in our pond. And I actually spoke to a local pond care place here in our area, and he kind of advised me, I think we're going to go another route with the pond. It might even have to be dug out, like redug. We're just really having issues with bad smell coming from it. It might even be from the water being aerated, which is a good thing to, you know, keep that aeration system going, but it almost seems like it's kind of bringing up, you know, weird smells. And maybe even as I feel the muck away, I think that stuff really did help as far as it took away from, you know, the muck. It took the muck away from the bottom of the pond, but it's almost like it's in the water now and kind of coming out in a gas form. I know it sounds terrible, but to me it kind of seems that way. But I was on the phone with a guy, again, locally here, and I think he might help us to try to clear that up, maybe starting this fall. And I'll try to keep you guys updated on that, because I know some of you are interested in the process. Next question here is question about the screen box that you have the fern in the shed. Did you make it? Do you have a video? I'm trying to think. I bet you're referring to, it's actually not a screen box, it would be a glass little house that I have that fern in. I'll try to throw a picture on the screen, but I did do a video on that. I'll try to share it down below in the description box, but it was just trying to think what I put together. I think it was a little end table that I flipped on the top, and then I put a little roof on. Might have added some frames along the side. I should know what all I have going on around here, right? But I'll try to link that down below in the description box if you want to check it out. Shelley DeHart says, I have a question, Mary. I noticed today with your Q&A, you have a beautiful new piece in your she shed. It's a piece of furniture that I've been wanting for years, a secretary desk. It's so beautiful in your shed. Well, thank you. Sorry to be nosy, but have you always had it there, or have you always had it, or is it a new old that you brought in or bought? Please don't ever paint it. I won't. I really like the color of that piece, and I like how it kind of pops there in the shed with all the whites. And I did get that piece at a thrift store, I think, and I felt almost guilty when I was at the thrift store. I remember, I think it was the Home and Hope thrift store, Hope and Home, and they had, I think the lady recognized me in there. She knew that I do, you know, redo furniture, and she actually took me down in the basement and kind of showed me a stash there that they hadn't put up on the floor yet, and I think that little piece was included in that stash. I mean, I did pay for it, but I felt like it probably wouldn't have been there, you know, had they put it up on the floor, but I felt kind of blessed to be able to get a hold of it. But yeah, that's staying there in the shed and staying that color as far as I know. I love old pieces like that. Next question, I loved your lemon t-shirt. May I ask where you got it? I'm thinking it might have been years ago at Old Navy, I think at one point. I recently accidentally washed it with something red. I think John has a red shirt that I picked up in a thrift store, and it was brand new. It still had the tags on it, also from Old Navy, ironically. And I accidentally washed it with that, like the load of laundry and that red shirt, and it actually turned pink on me. And I should probably maybe try to bleach it. I didn't try that, but I did wash it a couple times, and it still looks kind of pink, so you might not see me wearing it as much. Helen asked, where did you get the little table that you sit at in the shed with your laptop? Actually, it's this little table that I'm using right now. Probably one of my favorite pieces in our home. It is from FlexiSpot. I had done a sponsorship with them, and they sent me this table. I absolutely love it. I was just plain white when I got it, and I did add the transfers, like the decor transfers onto it, because I didn't really want that modern look for our home here, and I just love, you know, how it warmed it up. And the last questions are from the cottage cleaning video. That seems like a long time ago too. I had cleaned the cottages and taken a video of that as I worked in them. Elizabeth says, your hair always looks beautiful, but it is especially so in this video. Well, thank you. Would you ever consider doing a tutorial or describing how you do it? This kind of makes me smile, because I'm just I don't spend a lot of time. I mean, sometimes I'm in the mood to kind of fiddle with my hair and do a little something different with it, but for the most part, I always wonder what you guys think. I always look the same. Like I just don't take the time, I guess, to do anything with it. Basically, I just put it back in a bun, get it out of my face. I like when I'm working, I don't want hair in my face. And I always think, for me, it looks better if I part it and have it down because I have a high forehead. I don't like combing it back, so I rarely do that. And I often have hair here, which I think today I do, because I feel like my neck is kind of thin, so I feel like that kind of balances that out. I guess we all have our different little perks that we do to try to balance things out, right? Or I do, but I don't do anything fancy ever with it. I don't think, but I'll keep that in mind, the tutorial, but I'd be kind of surprised if you'd see that on here, but maybe someday. Next question here is, how is your garden doing? We have been having a drought here in Missouri, but praise the Lord, we received rain this morning. That's always awesome. We did have somewhat of a dry spell this summer. It didn't last too long though. We've been blessed with rain, but right now actually is probably our driest that we've been this summer, which we're in the fall season now. But as far as how is our garden doing, it didn't do too bad for a first-year garden. Like, we weren't expecting a whole lot with, again, having a first-year garden, lots of weeds and groundhogs to contend with. That was probably the most upsetting part. Like, if you work so hard to try to get something and then in a day, you know, things get chewed down where you can't even use them. But as far as, yeah, I did get tomatoes, a good harvest of tomatoes. They're still producing. We did get some potatoes and just fresh, you know, lettuce, just a little bit of lettuce. The groundhogs got most of that. Some radishes, onions. Trying to think what else. The strawberry plants look good. We didn't get any strawberries, being that it's, you know, the first year. But it's, yeah, it was fun. Like, I'm excited already for next year. Just to, I think it'll just go better every year with, you know, having a new garden. It tends to be that way. It just, you have to kind of work on building it up. Belinda Joy Parker says, how long does it take to clean one of the cottages to ready it between guests? I'd say for the most part, maybe 2 hours. Like, that's kind of the average. Sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more. Kind of depends on the guests. But for the most part, I think we've just rarely had any issues with, you know, just the place being trashed or anything. I don't think we've ever had issues with that, which we're so thankful for. And we do appreciate all of you guys that have stayed in the cottages. We've had so many people there, and it's just such a blessing to have all these bookings. So thank you for that. We really appreciate it. I love reading the notebooks. Like, I'd love to just go over there and meet everybody that stays there, but I, of course, you know, can't do that. But we do have some notebooks on the island that people write in, and it's just so encouraging to read all of that. But we do really appreciate all of you guys that have booked, and even if you haven't, it's fine. You know, we hope to have you someday, but it's been a lot of fun. White Gray says, are you planning to build a pool for your guests there in the future? We've talked about that. It would actually be an ideal place because you wouldn't have any trees to, you know, for leaves to fall in the pool or whatever. But at this point, I hope to plant more trees, but it would be a good sunny place to have one. We've, again, yeah, talked about it. Not sure at this point, you know, it probably won't happen right away. The next question here is, I love the cottages and they are cleaner than my house has ever been. Can I ask why you wouldn't clean with gloves? I'm not grossed out, but these are strangers staying there. I don't really think about that. I did notice we did get some comments in that video regarding that. Now, I would wear some if I'd see something that would gross me out, but so far, usually when you go in there to clean, like, it looks like no one was even there. You know, I'm just not bothered by that. Like, I always wash my hands, and I think, well, I'm working with soap and water, and it's probably disinfecting as I go. Renee Blankenship says, do you think you all will retire to one of the cottages one day? I doubt it. We've, you know, talked or kind of joked about it, I guess. We both just love it here. Like, we can't imagine living anywhere else besides here, but it would be so windy over there. Like, that's one thing I always tell people. It's an awesome place to stay a few nights, but I wouldn't want to live there. Like, you can't keep anything. Everything just blows away. It's up on a hill, and I'm just not used to that, I guess. But pros and cons with that, because there you have your beautiful sunsets and your beautiful views, whereas here back in the woods we don't really have that. But I think I'd still prefer this. But yeah, it would be a good little retirement place. And the bottom comment from that video is, I cannot believe you're not wearing gloves while cleaning that bathroom and changing the bed sheets. Also, asking guests to wash their towels before leaving is just plain bar face. Not to mention going barefoot in the house and shower while cleaning. Again, the green face. I guess, again, I had addressed that, the gloves. I'm not easily grossed out to begin with, but I've never seen anything gross in the cottages to have a reason to be grossed out. But if we do have a whole box full of rubber gloves in the closet, if Kara, our cleaner, she is welcome to use those. I'm not sure how she does, but for me, I definitely wear them if I see something that would gross me out. And then asking the guests to wash their towels before leaving. Guys, that is the best thing ever, and I thank you for doing that. Like I think just all of our guests have always done that. And honestly, if we stay at Airbnbs especially, often we're asked to do that, and I'll gladly do that because I know how much time that saves. The cleaner, if you have a cleaner that maybe has another job, like our Kara does, and is busy, has to keep moving and maybe has another cottage to clean, it's just so helpful to have that first load going. You guys know how long a washer cycle takes, and it's just, it's so handy. It saves so much time, and even with us having another 1 or 2 loads to wash, it's sometimes in the end you're actually finished cleaning and you have to wait on that washer or dryer, probably in this case. So it's so beneficial to have your guests do that, and it's not hard to do. You just throw in a Tide Pod or your soap and put the towels in and press a button. But yeah, we really do appreciate that. And then going barefoot in the house, I never once thought about that. Again, I always feel like when I'm cleaning, I'm in the middle of soap and I'm probably disinfecting as I go, so I'm not concerned with that. But it's fine though if somebody is. I respect that. So that's all of the questions for today, and again, I apologize for how late I am with these Q&As. I know a lot of you enjoy this sort of video. I admit, I've said this before, but this is not my favorite video to film. I'd much rather be doing something with my hands and showing you guys than standing here and talking and trying to answer questions, but I want to do this. I feel it is one way that I can kind of feel connected to people that watch my videos, and I just I'd like that if I follow someone on YouTube where I could maybe post a question and have it answered, even if it is, 5 months later. But hopefully things will improve. My goal is to be caught up with Q&As by maybe November, something like that. I do have another folder sitting here waiting, so hopefully I'll get that filmed soon and we can be caught up soon. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.